The ultimate evidence of the Holy Spirit in our lives is not signs, miracles, wonders, gifts, tongues, faith, hope, or holiness. The greatest evidence of the presence of the Holy Spirit in us is love. There are three things that will endure: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Love is how the world knows we're followers of Jesus. Love motivates us to minister to the least and the most difficult of these, and in doing so, to serve and love Jesus. Love inspires two great commandments that Jesus gave to us. Love agape, that is selfless, unconditional, and completely giving, is impossible without the help of the Holy Spirit. He pours God's love out of our hearts. For we know how dearly God loves us, because He has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with His love. When the Holy Spirit fills us with love, every fear, every worry flees. This is God 321. And now, here's your host, Danny Hutchins.
Hello, Detroit. Hello, Toledo. Hello, friend. Hello, Chesterfield Township. What a beautiful day today is. It was even better today than Monday. You know, that it's cooler, it's less humid, and it's absolutely beautiful out there. It's truly a God day. Are you enjoying it? I am enjoying it. Today we have Aaron Spicer from Lapeer Area Citizens Against Domestic Assault, Lacada. Is that correct? Aaron, are you with us?
Yes, it is.
Well, great. Well, great. Welcome to our show. Thank you for agreeing to be on. I was so anxious to talk with you about Lacada. That's how you say the acronym, correct?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank you. Tell us about you. You mission is to provide safety for survivors of domestic and sexual violence and their children. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
What a great mission.
Thank you.
And also you advocate for justice in these situations. My understanding is you provide anonymous shelters. See, people come to you, and they need a place to find shelter and rest, and they need someone to be in between, the go-between.
Yeah, actually we do. We have a 19-bed shelter here in Lapeer.
A 19-bed shelter?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then you also have, you're renting some area homes or other rooms for shelters too?
Yep, our 19-bed shelter is actually just a temporary shelter that the women can stay up to 45 days. But then we also do have 8 units within the county of Lapeer that we rent and can house families for up to 2 years in each one of those units.
Up to 2 years.
Yeah.
How do you advocate for justice?
Well, I think we've been on a lot of community boards and go to community meetings to kind of make sure that the prosecution and law enforcement and stuff are all aware of the issues of domestic violence and sexual assault within the community.
So you provide these women and their children, or even perhaps occasionally a man and a child, but you provide them with counseling?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do have advocates that work with them on housing issues, employment,
education.
Education, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also,
like that.
I assume you introduce them to legal aid.
Yes, we do have. We have legal advocates on staff here that aren't attorneys, but can help with guide them through the legal system. But we also do have resources within the county as far as legal services of Eastern Michigan and stuff that we can get them in contact with.
I understand being a child from a abused family, abused home, abused mother, and being out on the street and thrown out and back in and back and forth in the day when...
Sorry about that.
Well, no. I am the sum of all that I am. I am... you go through things, you come out of them, and it makes you stronger. Mm-hmm. It either breaks you or makes you, you know. And the issue here, though, is having that experience, because in my day... the only shelter was really the church. Mm-hmm. They didn't really have, but you have resources. So many people, so many women who are battered, and so many children who are battered. And then the issue is the mother either gets in between and becomes battered, the child gets in between, the child is additionally battered. You know, it's such a difficult position to be in.
Yeah.
And there are all kinds of reasons, alcohol, drugs, manic depressive, out of work, just so many conditions that cause this dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Very young mothers and very young marriages. Mm-hmm. But the issue today is there are resources, and so many mothers, so many even single mothers, don't understand the resources that are available to them.
Yeah, that is always very surprising when people come into shelter and didn't realize even, what resources we have right here within our community for them. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, you provide them, you say that when they come to you, most of them are coming because they don't have anything. They have no place to go. They need protection, okay? They need protection from their assaulter.
Yeah.
Whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's a husband, an abusive father in some cases. So they need food, they need money, they need a place to be. Even when you put them up, then there has to be, of course, there's utilities to pay. Transportation, in some cases they don't have transportation. So can you give us a story? You don't, of course, know names, but can you give us a story of someone who comes to you, how that progresses?
Well, I don't know if I can give you an exact story, but I can kind of give you kind of how we operate as far as when someone comes into shelter and kind of how the things they would experience with them coming into shelter, or even if not in shelter. We do have a very big outreach program, too, that we serve a lot of people through our non-residential office. So the people that aren't needing shelter but are staying with family or friends, or even have stayed in their own home and possibly the assailant has left, or, he could be still living there and she still comes to our support groups and meets with us to kind of...
Okay, so you continue it even if the family is rejoined, or sometimes the person leaves and comes back, and then you got that back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do have that. And, not all relationships end that easily. And so even with an abusive relationship, sometimes it takes a couple times for someone to leave before they leave for good. And we always keep our door open. We have people come into shelter and exit and go back. And people go back for a lot of reasons. So we know that, and we stand by them and support them in whatever decision they make. And just hopefully we've given them information while they were here or receiving our services.
Well, a lot of people are fearful to leave because they're afraid if they go to a shelter, then when their abuser gets sober or whatever, the conditioner, or he calms down, then they want to find them. They come after them or come looking for them. And then, of course, there's the time when they make up and try to come back, and you try to, reconcile. And there's a seesaw effect often.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that the women go back to the relationship. The children, sometimes the relationship has been on for years, and it's all they know.
It's all they know. I mean, they're fearful.
Right.
Do you help these, in case women who decide to step out, you help them find jobs, you said?
Well, we don't, we wish we could find everything easily for them, but we know of a lot of resources in the community. A big part of our job is to locate housing and employment opportunities, and that our advocates work a lot with the clients on doing that. Like I said, the big part of my job is to kind of let know what's out in the community, what's going on in the community, to kind of see what the resources are currently. That changes a lot.
It does change a lot, but here's the thing. You're talking about, if we even look at averages, anywhere from 60,000 ears right now, as many as 100,000, because we're covering a broad audience that goes all the way to Flint and then past Lansing and down south of Toledo. So several millions of people, and it's the resource issue, because when young people are in this, or older people, anyone in a situation like that, they don't realize that there are choices often. Do they think often they have to stay here, they have to live here, they feel they have no place to go. They have no money, no place to go, afraid they'll be naked on the street. But you have resources, so help them find a shelter, help them find food.
And there's shelter programs and domestic violence program in every county in the state.
But people don't realize that. I know you're not surprised, but I'm often surprised. But then I'm not surprised because just looking, at you and then going online and seeing that there is shelter programs, surprisingly, we don't hear about them.
No. And we try to get our word out there, but we still people have in this community that say they don't know that we're even here.
Well, that's why you're on the radio, because I want you to tell them that you're there, and there is help, and there's a broad base of help in every single county, and like in Detroit, there's help in the city itself. There's help in Wayne County. There's help in Oakland County. There's help in the larger communities often, if you say the city of Troy. But there's more help than anyone realizes.
Right. Yep.
And even the churches, I find the churches are often not really outreach. If someone comes to them, they help them, but they don't tend to tell their congregation and don't advertise it that they have connections to someone like yourself, the Lapeer Area Citizens Against Domestic Assault. That where's the advocacy group? Often they tell about pantries. People know where there's a pantry for food. There's some that even know where they can go to social services for aid. But protection against assault, I don't hear it that often.
Right. And, I wish I had answered how we could get that better and how we get more people to talk about it. Because we talk about it all the time, about resources and stuff in the circle that we work in.
Well, one resource here for you, because we can do this more often. Because, it's really important. Like I said, being from a home where we thought, there was no place to go, and we were in it and in it. My mother always believed it was better for her to be there. Of course, part of it was selfishness on her part, because she was afraid, and she was afraid she didn't have education. What would I do? Where would I go? But I found out that you're better off with one happy parent, one solid parent, one parent who loves you and doesn't abuse you, than you are with two very unhappy people living in abuse.
Right.
That's my own take on it. That's, that was me. Other people may feel the other way, but I look at children and people say I stay for the children, and I would say, please don't.
Right.
You really need to protect your child. You need to protect yourself. If you don't protect yourself, how can you protect your child?
Right.
And then the other is there is help. There is someone with food. There is another hope. There is jobs. There is training. There is education, in that.
Right. And, it's overwhelming for a lot of people, but it is out there, yeah.
Yeah, well, we thank you for being out there. How many people do you see in a year? Do you have an idea?
In a year? Well, last year, I know in the shelter itself, we served 117 women, or women or men. And we do house men outside the shelter. But we did have 117 adults last year, and I believe about 93 children within our emergency shelter alone.
And then you said you have some states where you can house people up to 2 years.
Yep. Last year we served, we have 8 units that we can house up to 2 years, which is an amazing program that we're very fortunate to have through the state. And last year we were able to house 8 families, and that consisted of 22 children were housed for that. And they can, they don't have to stay the 2 years. They can stay 6 months to 2 years, but it's a time that they can rebuild their credit. Mom can locate jobs, because the shelter is a temporary stay, like I said. Up to 45 days is not a long time to change your life completely around. And some of our families come in with no transportation, no child care, no employment, and that 2 years gives them the chance to really build that up, because we do pay all rent and utilities and furnish the unit.
Well, that is awesome. That's a great program, because that does provide you time to build a life.
Yes. And some of our families have been very successful in that program and have stayed the 2 years and been able to move into, permanent housing of their own, even if it's an apartment, but they've been able to save money and build up their credit and kind of get a stable base that they wouldn't have had otherwise without that program.
do other shelters that you know have that 2-year program?
Yeah, there are other shelters within the state that have that. I don't know exactly which ones, but that funding is actually through the state of Michigan, and so I do know there are other counties that have that.
Mm-hmm. Do you also help women who are pregnant with their child and they come to you and they're battered?
Oh yes, we have women, single women. We have women that are pregnant, women with children. I mean, we help anybody. I mean, we help men. Like I said, we do servicemen. We don't house them in our emergency shelter, but we will house them elsewhere.
So you have experience with battered men then?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have had a few. Yep, not many, but we've had a few.
Well, most of the men who are battered, they just got to hide it and stay at home and watch football and drink a little beer. There's a difference in verbal battering than actual physical assault. But that is, it's a wonderful, wonderful service that Lacada is providing. How long has Lacada been in existence?
We opened our doors to our first shelter in 1991.
1991.
Mm-hmm. So we're going on 20 years.
Are you privately funded?
No, we actually are. We receive state, federal funds. We receive local from different foundations locally too, and private donations. Yeah.
Oh, great. I had a talk with four county community foundations, and you're on their list.
Yep.
Yes, it was a very nice conversation. They think very highly of your organization.
Oh, well, that's great.
So, people hear about an organization, they wonder about their legitimacy. But I can tell you from investigating Lacada and telling our audience it's a very highly reputable operation and very well thought of by each of the organizations that we talk to.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You deserve it. But you're hiding away up there in Lapeer County and way up there in the north.
Yes. And, but anybody can call us, too, and we have all the contacts for other counties, too, if people are looking for services in a different county.
Would you give us that telephone number?
Yep, our crisis line number that someone's answering 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
It's going to be 810-667-4175.
Can you say that again, please?
810-667-4175.
And you have an email number, too.
Our email is going to be Lacada, Lacada, @Lacada, LACADA.org.
And your website?
Is Lacada.org.
Lacada.org.
Yeah, we try to keep it simple.
No, that's terrific. It needs to be simple, with then when you have people come and you have obviously shelters, people are afraid that the one who is attacking them at the current time is going to find them because they're full of fear. So do you have shelters that are anonymous?
Well, you know what? I think a lot of shelters don't do that anymore, just because you're trying to get community source. I know when we moved to our new location about 5 years ago, we chose not to go confidential and anonymous, just because we were looking for community support, and I think we didn't want to be the mysterious thing within the county. And I think if we let people know where we were, with the people who we didn't not know where we were already knew who we were. The assailants already knew where we were. People we didn't want to know. So if we opened our doors and showed the community, here we are, we're here and helping people.
Well, it's only the ones that need you who don't know where you are. The bad people know where you are.
Exactly. I think that's what we were finding.
Well, what about the situation, though? But you do have, even though they know where you are, when someone comes in, they're very fearful. How do you handle that?
Well, we try to assure them that we do have safety procedures. The shelter doors are always locked. There are cameras monitoring outdoors the shelter. The local law enforcement is very familiar with us and help us out when we, may have a situation that we think possibly an assailant is looking for their partner. I think, and all the staff is well aware of that we are running a crisis center, and they are running a place where somebody that we don't want to could show up here at any time. Fortunately, that hasn't happened. Fortunately, we haven't had a situation that
anyone's safety was, threatened. But I think we just have our, being aware of our surroundings and keeping our safety procedures in place. We've had situations where we had to move people to a different county. We hate doing that, to moving people. But that has happened, that the woman felt safer in another county because he didn't know where she was. So those situations could happen too.
Do you help people when they come, if they believe that there's no way that they can go back? Do you help them with attorneys and counseling so they can get a divorce if they don't have the funds for that?
Yep, we do have resources as far as getting people in contact with, like, do-it-yourself divorces or divorce attorneys. We do, if whatever the client feels their needs are, we don't, we let them guide kind of the situation or their stay here. And if attorneys is what they're looking for, that's what we'll, advocate and help them get. If it's, just needing a place to stay for, a few weeks until they can figure out where else they can stay, that's what we'll do. But we work hard at trying to advocate for whatever their need is when they're in shelter.
Have you gotten involved in some child custody issues when you have people particularly long stay and then you have a husband that just doesn't want to
some of our clients are going through custody issues and divorces while we're meeting with them. Like I said, our shelter services are like a short-term program, but our non-residential services, they can meet with people for, I know there's clients that they've met with for years out there that have went through long divorces and custody battles, and that the advocates have worked very closely with those women with. So we've had situations that we've had, we've had clients in shelter who the kids have to go back on the weekends to dads, while they're in shelter. Okay. And just kind of advocating to keep the children and mom safe during those times too.
Right. Mm-hmm. Are you guys exclusively to Lapeer County, or are you accessible to outside of Lapeer County?
We're accessible to outside. We try to service Lapeer County first, and not fill up with out of county. But we are funded by the state of Michigan and provide anyone within the state of Michigan shelters if needed.
But you work within a network of other shelters. You recommend or say, yes, we're here for you, but let's help you get in the shelter within your county. You know what? Some people
prefer to stay within their county, and their resources are all there. They have family there. They may have their, DHS or divorces happening in that county. And so, we can, if they're calling our shelter, we can kind of say, hey, let's call that shelter and see what they can do for you and what they can help you with and if they have room. And we'll contact other shelters and vice versa. If we've got somebody who's, living in Wayne County, but they've got their parents up here in Wayne or Lapeer County, and they were from Lapeer and they're comfortable up in Lapeer and they want to come up here, we'll work with them on getting them up in Lapeer too.
Well, often I would, I think there's situations where there's alcohol involved or drugs involved, and people come to you that perhaps even a mother who is on drugs and she lives with another druggie, but she still leaves and she's battered, and so you deal with drug rehabilitation with some of the people who come to you?
Oh, yeah. We do. Working, we see a lot of people with drug and alcohol issues, too, within the shelter as far as the women themselves. And we just work to get them the resources that they need within the community, too.
So regardless of that. So if they come and they have a need, they have a child, they have drug issues, they say, I need help with these issues, and or even if they're going to stay with you because they're battered and they have drug issues, you have counseling to help them deal with that issue.
Yeah, we see the gamut of everything up here. We see mental health issues, we see substance abuse issues, we see, single women, or like I said, women that are pregnant, women who have 5 kids and, no transportation. We cover everything up here.
What about, with this economy, particularly 2008, 2009, where we're at now, my assumption is you may have had, I would assume you had some type of a rise because you have people who are being displaced, people out of jobs, tensions very high, people fearful, they're out of work, they have no money, they're being foreclosed on, and, the husband is just distraught, the wife is distraught, you have children. Do you see people coming to your shelter to assist in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we have people who have lost their homes and were being evicted and stuff like that. Yeah, and trying to get them here and trying to help people rebuild their credit or try to find them housing programs is hard in this time. I mean, like I said, it changes. I mean, 5 years ago there was a program, that housed, families up here, and now it's gone, and, we'll be back in a couple of years. So, that type of thing is always changing, and trying to get them hooked up with those services is a challenge. And especially in this times, like I said, there are programs that were here, 10 years ago that when we first started out, or I first started out, we're like, oh, don't they have that program? They're like, no, we don't have that program anymore. So kind of staying up on that is kind of, is challenging for us. But you got to do your best with what we've got right now. And
well, you do have to do the best, and you can't obviously help everybody, all the time. You only have your limits, like we all do. You look out, you want to reach out and touch everybody possible. And it just seems to be more need than there is help. But as I look through it, I'm amazed at how much help there really is. It's just the awareness issue for the help that's available.
Right.
Often.
And I think, like I said, it changes so much. I think like the housing issues and stuff, I think the housing services change a lot, and they have money, sometimes, and money not there other times. So I think that might be the awareness as far as housing opportunities and stuff, but as far as services.
Aaron Spicer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Aaron, the other situation is when you have the mothers, particularly when you have this long-term or the 2-year and we're changing our lives and you're helping them provide a job, then there is the child care or the daycare portion. You provide that?
No, well, we don't provide child care for like when the women are going out working and stuff, like on a daily basis.
Well, how do they get there?
Right. We do when they're here, if they're going out for a job interview, possibly, court proceedings and stuff like that, we do assist with child care. If they're attending support groups here, we do provide child care. But we're very, very fortunate there. The state of Michigan does help, women with children help pay for their child care. So we try to make sure they're getting that resource.
So does the state of Michigan, they help the situation? Do they help them by giving them money to stay at home, or is it an incentive to get out and get a job and to have the child care? Because in some states you hear about that the states provide enough subsistence, just enough, that it's hard for the woman to go out and work because she's going to have an education, so she has to have an education to grow. If you want to be something more, you have to have an education. So you got to go to school, you got to work, and you have to take care of your children. Are there bridge dollars for school and for, to help these families become anew? Your 2-year program, you're changing. I need to go to college, or I need to finish high school.
Right. I don't know exactly about as far as dollars of education right now. I'm not up to date on that, what they're helping with right now as far as the state of Michigan. But I do know there are, like child care dollars. I know that there's money to help pay for child care when the women are working. But as far as education-wise, I don't know exactly what they're helping with right now.
Well, what about transportation to work?
Transportation to work?
Mm-hmm.
As far
as Lacada helps with that.
As far as Lacada helps? We do. We provide transportation to our clients within the county, mostly within the city of Lapeer here. We can help provide transportation. We provide bus tokens and stuff like that for them to help them meet their goals. Is that wise? As far as working on appointments and stuff like that, yes, we do help.
Well, awesome. How do you fundraise? Or you just depend on people knowing? Do you guys actually have fundraising events?
We do actually have 2 fundraising events typically a year. We try to do one in the spring and in the fall. We do have like a Taste of Lapeer, which is we usually hold every October.
Oh, that's a great Taste of Lapeer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we hold that every October, and it's area restaurants donate their specialties and come out and serve kind of a sampling of their specialties. And we have a live auction and sometimes like a fishbowl or silent auction. And we typically about 200 and some people at that event.
Well, we need to promote that for you. You need to let us know ahead of time so we can get you more than 200 people up there. Maybe we'll have to run buses back and forth.
That would be great.
What other? You said you ran 2.
And then we also do one in the spring. It's called Martinis and Manicures. It's we told it it's a strictly for women only event that they come out, and we have area manicurists donate their time to do manicures, and they have martinis and stuff like that, and that's held at a local the Huntsman Hunt Club, or the Hunters Creek Club. Sorry, I'm giving the wrong name. Out in Metamore, we hold that every year out there. For the last 3 years, we've done that, and we just had that one 2 weeks ago.
Well, men might want manicures too, and pedicures. Just think, you're supposed to be inclusive, right?
I know. We were just talking. We needed to hold a fundraiser that we included more men in.
Well, how about a barbecue contest or chili cook-off?
We'll have to think of that. We were sitting here thinking of ideas the other day of what we can do.
Well, up in Lapeer, you guys could have, you could have plowing contests.
We do have a big field around the shelter. We could possibly utilize that.
Maybe at the fairgrounds. You guys have a great fair, don't you?
Yep, about 15 minutes east of us.
The Lapeer County Fair is one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Well, then you could have we could have bragging contests. Your male bragging. How about the biggest lie story? You get to pay an entry fee, and then you get a prize, like 50-50 for the biggest lie. Right.
We're going to call you and have you on our fundraising committee, and you can give us all these ideas.
Well, the fish story, I caught that one big.
Exactly.
And then, I went hunting and I caught a moose with a big 12 rack, whatever. But, the guys that would enjoy that.
All right. We'll have to.
Or a dunking contest.
We'll have to, we could.
Let the ladies dunk the men. How's that?
There we go. I think there's probably some men in this community that we'd like to.
You'd like to dunk?
Yeah,
Politician dunk. That's it. Politician dunk.
There we go. That sounds good to us.
But yeah, it would be good to bring the men in too. So, and of course, help you raise more money and awareness.
Yes.
I talked yesterday about the run for the cure, the Coleman run, and they did $2 million down at Tiger Stadium, and they allowed them to run inside, the stadium area and through the area. So that's a lot of money to raise. And
that is a lot of money to raise, yeah.
That's a lot of money. But Lacada is providing a huge benefit. We look at a lot of things and we raise a lot of money, but physical assault, whether it's female or male, physical assault in children is so prolific and so detestable and so preventable. Mm-hmm. And but yet it needs more attention. Children are so precious, and then they see their parents, and they try to defend their parents. Kids get in between mom and dad, and it just goes on and on and on. It goes on and on and on, and this is something that we really need to pay attention to. And then families pretend it's not there, and they live with each other, but then there's so much anger. It's not just the violence. I can tell you, my mother, she would be happy when my father left for work in the morning. And with 2 hours, before he would come 2 hours, she would become to go into a severe depression, and she would just cry and cry. And holidays were just hell, because we as kids didn't know what to expect. Plus the fact that you hate to see Dad come home because of the depression my mother went in, and you don't know what to expect. So you begin to choose sides. And then how can you choose sides as a child? But you choose sides. You see what you see. And even, in the courthouse, when you get pitched, a child has to pick. How can a child pick? Right. It's so hard to choose. How to choose? Well, Father, why are you angry? Why is this happening? Mom, why are you crying? And you're so little, and you throw yourself into it as a child. and more often not to protect mommy. Because you're so close to mommy. But you can't.
It was very difficult for the children that come into shelter, too, and, confused why they've left their home. And
yes, and their friends.
Yeah, and a lot of times they leave their schools and they come in here. And,
yes. And then when they go to school battered, and everybody looks at them, even though the teacher's looking out, trying to look out for them. They feel that they're ostracized. They stick out like a sore thumb. And yes, they're hurt, and yes, they need help, but it's, they're mentally hurt on both sides. People look at them wrong. I know when I was a kid, the neighbors would just basically turn their backs on you because they didn't want to get involved.
Yeah.
Even the church would turn its back on you. Because they just didn't know what to do and they didn't want to get involved. It was, people took sides. And I was a young man trying to get my first date. I couldn't even get a date, because the parents of the girls I wanted dated knew that I came from a home where there was battering going on. And they don't know if you're mentally stable.
Right.
As a child.
Right. And I mean, for a lot of our kids, just removing them from the situation changes them dramatically.
Yes. And you take them from anything, everything that they know, even if it's violence. And that's the poor thing with the moms, particularly with the young ones. They don't necessarily have a career. They don't necessarily have completed their education in many cases. And what do I do? Where do I go? I know this man when he's all right, it's good, but it's not good often. We go back to this, and what do I do? Where do I go? I have a child. I want to protect my child, but I'm afraid of I'm afraid of out there more than I'm afraid of here.
Right.
It's like that bird in the guilty cage. Open the door, and the bird doesn't know anything different, so it just stays inside, doesn't leave.
Right. Yeah.
And then sometimes there's an accident, and then people are hurt, even killed, because of just continued violence. How you guys see that every day, though?
Right. We do.
Every day. How do you do it?
Well, I think we need to, when we look and we have the rough days and we see that, it's continually difficult, is to know that we are changing women's lives. There are women that are getting out of situations and, having, being successful at getting out of the relationships and have their own places, and their kids are doing great and thriving in school. And we do have those stories, too. So I think that when the days get rough, that it's like, oh, my goodness, this is, we're seeing the same thing in the same situation all the time. That, we have a lot of other families out there that have,
but
on the other end.
We need, as a public, we need to hear those success stories, because there are women who, when they hear that, they need to know that there are success stories, that people are getting out, they're finding their way, they are learning. There are organizations like yourself that give them hope and give them a chance, because, when you get stuck into it, then you become a prison, and, time goes by so quickly, as we know. And then we talk about repeat cycles. Repeat cycles happen because people live and become conditioned to a way of life. And then the children grow up to be angry inside, and because they didn't have a life, because their life was taken from them. And then they repeat the cycle sometimes. Or they go totally the opposite way.
Right.
With that. So we need Lacada. We need Citizens Against Domestic Assault and all the kinds. We need people to know that you're there.
Right.
We need to know that there are success stories. Often I've talked to many young ladies who actually have stepped as far as suicide and thank God that they've either used drug overdose and they haven't died because they've gotten to the hospital on time, but they're so desperate because they don't know that you're there. Mm-hmm. You and other groups like you, even though there is more out there all the time, the awareness is a problem.
Yeah, it is. And we've talked about that. It's something we're always working on, and to get our information out there and to get the people to know that we're here and available.
Well, why don't you think about, with your group, because we don't even have to do a long segment, but we could do a segment for you every month, to say 5 or 10 minutes. You can talk to us. You can call in. You call in every month and take 5 minutes to talk to us. Tell us what you're doing. Tell the people that you're there. Tell us that there are groups in Oakland County. There are groups in Macomb. There are groups in every county out there. Perhaps the next time we talk, you could just read off some of the other area groups, and we could talk about some of the services that, the groups like your groups are providing to people. So awareness for Lapeer, because we actually reach Lapeer. I've told my grandchildren that Santa Claus lives in Lapeer.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, they want to know where up north is, so we drive. So this is as far north as we go, so that must be, Santa Claus lives in Lapeer. And then since you got that late snow this year, they know Santa Claus lives in Lapeer.
Yes, it felt like we were up north, too. We were getting a lot of snow.
Yes. And you guys right now, the other situation, you have 18.5 or 19% unemployment. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that has to have impacted you.
Yeah, it has.
Because even those families that have a good relationship in situations of unemployment, as we talked about, in foreclosure, nerves are unafraid.
Yeah.
And men, if they're not providing, it is they just don't know what to do if they're not working. They're so geared to work that if they're not working, they're just depressed, and then they're not a whole lot of help around the house usually.
Right.
So they just become more depressed, and it makes their wife upset because they don't know what to do with themselves, and so they usually get in the way more than they're helpful. And it creates more tension. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in children, if you have teenagers, they never stop wanting. They don't understand that you don't have work or the economy's bad.
Right.
They just want. In this society, they don't understand that, we have to slow down the want a little bit. It is a tough place to be.
It is.
Well, thank God for Lacada. That's just awesome. Well, Aaron, it was nice for you to call in, and you're welcome, like I said, to call in.
I will. We will probably take you up on that.
Well, please, we have you on air. What we're going to do is we're going to put you on our website as a link, and we're going to point to you, and we're going to remind families that they can go to your link and get information, and whether they go to your link to get information about Lapeer, but you'll help them wherever they call in. You're going to direct them.
Yep, we can direct them to the other counties, yep.
Okay, let's tell everybody again, your phone number and email and website.
All right, the phone number that somebody can answer 24/7 is 810-667-4175. And the email address is going to be Lacada, Lacada, at Lacada, Lacada.org. And our website is lacada.org.
Okay, everybody, I hope you wrote that down. This is very important because all of you know people who need help. And Aaron Spicer has said, look, you call. It doesn't matter if you're in Wayne County. It doesn't matter if you're in Oakland County. It doesn't matter if you're in Macomb. It doesn't matter if you're out in Washington County. If you have a family violence issue, call Lacada. They will direct you. You don't have to wonder if you're calling the right number. Call Lacada. They will help you. They will direct you. Okay. This is a great resource for you, and don't be afraid. there is people out there that want to help you. God wants to help you. There is agencies out there in placement. Lacada is the one we're talking to with today, and they have information for you. Erin, we're going to hang up on you now.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was Erin Spencer, and that was Lacada. You got those numbers, all right? And just in case you didn't, the phone number is 810-667-4193 for Lacada. So you need to call her if you know anyone, give them that phone number that is having an issue. Let's go to our car. Okay, guess what? We have someone in the audience, and we'll know more about it tomorrow. They emailed us in, and they have donated another car. We will have two cars for you to give away. And we think we have a teaser. We believe we will ultimately have 3 cars to give away to satisfy the needs. And we are getting more and more letters from you. The car giveaway is, there are people out there. There are people out there. There are single moms. There are seniors. There are people who don't have a car, who need to get back and forth from a hospital. There are people who have been involved in foreclosures, not working, who've lost their car. They need your help. Your help is to reach out to them, to see them, to ask questions, to notice your neighbor at church, to notice your neighbor on the block. There's someone at school where your children go, a family that needs a car. Your job is to go out there and see someone, to look at them, and to send us an email and tell us why they need a car, and find out about them. Get their name, get their address, get their story. Show them that you care. We will have 3 cars. We know we're going to have 2. We suspect a third one is coming. So we went from 1, and the audience is responding. We have 2, and we have 3 on the pending, and we have the need is coming in. We're getting more and more letters daily of those of you who are opening your eyes and your hearts. Open your eyes. Open your hearts. There are people out there, if it's not a car, there are people who need groceries. There are people who need their water bill paid. You could pay 1 water bill, 1 gas bill. Just help them with their rent, When you give, you get blessed. Sometimes when you're down to your last penny and someone needs that, but more than you give that to them, and then God blesses you. He blesses. When you step out to bless someone else, when you're having a bad day and you actually pick up and you smile at someone, are you surprised when they smile back at you? And when they smile back at you, don't you feel good? Don't you feel better? When you go to clerk and you walk up to a counter and you see she's having a bad day and she's not happy, and pretty soon she's going to spill over on you, but you hold yourself together and you give her a smile, or him, and you say thank you, and they stop for a second, it makes a better day for them. Giving doesn't always involve money. Giving involves courtesy and kindness, and seeing someone, and someone drops something and you pick it up. A lady needs help crossing a street. You see a gentleman down the street, you have a newspaper under your arms, and he's sitting there with nothing. You say, would you like to have my paper? Buying a person a cup of coffee, how hard is that? You give up 1 Starbucks a day, and you can give someone else a little happiness. Life is not about you. We have to get over our selfishness. We have to get over our materialistic selves. I've lived in it. I've been that way. I certainly have, and I've had a lot. And I'll tell you, the last 3 years have taught me a lot of times, because you can have a lot, and then one day you have a little. We take a lot, and we make a little out of it. God takes a little, and he makes a lot out of it. And often it only takes a little to change someone's life. an act of kindness. Kindness. We have the ability to be cruel or kind. It's a whole lot better to be kind. Cruel makes you feel crappy, and cruel also makes the other people feel crappy, and it tends to. You come into a room and you kind of put a damper on it. We've all been in this place where people are negative. You walk in and it's like, hot air slapping you in the face. But, okay, well, today's been a wonderful day. It was so good to talk to Aaron Spicer from Lacada. I want to thank you so much for being with us. I'm having such a good time talking to you. Really love you guys. This is Faith Talk 1500, God321.net, and we are out of here.
Thanks for listening to God 321 with Dan Hutchins. God 321 is sponsored by Dihydro Services, Inc. To learn more about the person of the Holy Spirit, visit God321.net. That's God321.net. Or call 586-978-0541. That's 586-978-0541.